take it easy with the dynasty. Nate Buchanan, he knows the sports scene in Kansas City very well. Nate, great to have you with us here today.
Mad Dog.
Great to have you
Good to see. I'd point out also Ernest Hemingway's first job as a writer, Kansas City Star.
No kidding.
How about that?
How about that? How far is Independence, Missouri from here where Truman was from?
You're actually in Independence right now.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
it's right around the corner. Okay.
Yep.
Now, you were in 4th grade the last time the Royals won. Give me a little sense. Now, you're a young kid then, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
I get that. But give me a little sense of the drought the last 29 years and the amount of enthusiasm with this Kansas City team.
Yeah, it was different in 1985. The Royals fans, we thought we got to go to the playoffs almost every year because it was almost every year they went to the postseason. They finally won the World Series in 85, but nobody had any idea at that time it'd be 29 years before we were back here in the postseason. So this town is probably crazier now than it was in 1985 because people have been waiting, in some cases, all of their lives for this.
And people don't realize they were here first. Chiefs came late. The Royals were here first, 1955, and or was it 54? All their enthusiasm. This has been a great American League Baseball town here for a better part of a half a century.
Think about it this way. I'm 38 years old. This is the third time the Royals have been in the World Series. The Chiefs have never been to the Super Bowl in my lifetime. So, yeah, this has been a baseball town. Now, they've had to suffer through a lot of losing over the past, especially 15 years, but they were ready to come back out, and you'll see that tonight.
All right, what's your feeling here as far as this series are concerned? Do the Royal fan base, do they understand how tough and how feisty the Giants are? They haven't seen the Giants that much. I know they came here in August, but let's throw that out. Do the Royals, they realize this is not going to be easy against this San Francisco team. Do the fan base know that in Kansas City?
The fan base is always aware of that in Kansas City because nobody ever cares about the Midwest. And we watch national television all the time, and it's always about the East Coast or the West Coast. And we're watching everybody around right now talk about how the Giants are the dynasty. They've got 2 World Series championships in recent history under their belts, and the Royals have never even been there. So we're hearing from everybody that the Royals don't even stand much of a chance, even though both of these teams basically had the same record and were wild card teams. So I think it's an evenly matched team, but yeah, absolutely, it's going to be a very tough series.
Are you worried, or the Royal fan concerned about the 6-day layoff after they beat the Orioles last Wednesday?
In some ways, yes, because when you've won 8 games in a row, you just want to keep playing, and so they want to keep the momentum. But on the other side, I heard you talking earlier about the most important aspect of this Royals team is the big 3 in the back of the bullpen. Maybe the best 3 relievers as a tandem to ever play in Major League Baseball.
Possible. Yep.
And they needed some rest because they're getting used a lot in the postseason. So it was really good for them and really good for Salvador Perez, the catcher, who's caught 152 games last time I checked this year. He needed some time off as well. So I think it's more of a positive than it is a negative.
Do we expect this to have great carryover? I mean, the Royals they got a young team. They got a lot of young players, maybe no Shields next year. But do we expect this to be not just a lightning bolt? Do we expect now Kansas City to resume itself in its rightful place as a great American League Baseball town based on this year?
You certainly hope so. And look, Royals fans are well aware of the fact that nothing's given because in 1985, that was a good young team. Brett Saberhagen was 21 years old as the World Series MVP, and they obviously never made it back. So we know that nothing's taken for granted. But as you mentioned, with young pitchers like Yordano Ventura and Danny Duffy and some other young pitchers on the way, and the young nucleus of players like Mike Moustakas and Eric Hosmer and Alcides Escobar, just to name a few, they feel like there is a nucleus here that can win for quite some time.
If they lose this World Series, are they going to look at this as an opportunity lost? We didn't finish the deal? Or has this been a phenomenal year and a great postseason no matter what happens in these next 7 days?
I don't think anything can take away from the history that this team has already accomplished in this town. I mean, they will always be remembered as a team that finally broke the 29-year drought and a team that won 8 postseason games in a row, which is something that had never been done to start a postseason before. But obviously, once you get here, everybody knows that there's no guarantee you'll ever get back. So they want to finish this off and take care of business.
Well, you know, the Giants are playing with house money. I mean,
Right.
I'm a Giant fan. If the Giants lose this World Series, the Giant fan can't say anything. They won
Right.
2 championships, 3
Right.
pennants. What can you say? The Royal fan, as you said, had a great year, but again, you haven't really won. And, you know, you don't want to come out, you don't want to be the Rockies of 2007.
Right.
So if there's any pressure on a team here, it's probably a little bit more on Kansas City.
On this, at the same time, I think they're still taking that approach as an underdog. You know, they feel like we're the young kids that nobody thought we would be here in the first place. I'm just going to tell you something, Mad Dog. After that wild card game, this has been a completely different team. And they've admitted it. I mean, Ned Yost
that
has
wild
said so
card game
himself.
set everything up. I told you.
Yeah, the 8th inning changed. They went from a team that we weren't sure if they could handle the bright lights and the pressure. That 8th inning changed everything to where now they just thrive in it and they love it. And I expect to see a good effort from them in this World Series.
If they get hit by a punch, They get hit by a right hand. They blow a game in the ninth inning. Giants, Bumgarner throws a 4-hit complete game shutout tonight, and the Royals all of a sudden got some pressure on them down 1-0. How do you think this team's going to respond in that kind of? They haven't lost yet.
Right.
Giants will respond. Giants always respond.
Right.
How will the Royals respond in that spot?
Well, like you said, we haven't seen it yet because they haven't lost, but I would say being down 7-3 to John Lester.
That's as bad. That's as close to extinction as you're going to get.
That's a pretty good first-round punch to take. You got to pick yourself up off the mat, and especially here at home, the crowd didn't give up in that game, and the players kind of fed off that, and they didn't give up. Now the question is, when they go on the road, if they're down in the series, would that be a problem? I expect the team to respond. They've responded all season long. They've faced a lot of adversity the last couple of years. They've had pressure to finally win here, and they've answered that. So I think if they get punched, they'll get back up.
Did the Royal fan want the Cardinals? I mean, the Cardinals are sort of a cocky franchise. They're in Missouri. They're 248 miles away. They win a lot. Did you want to crack at St. Louis in a World Series?
You know, it depends on who you ask, because a lot of the people I work with really wanted another I-70 series. I didn't want the Cardinal fan base to have any chance to get something over on the Royals fan base, because we still have the last laugh of 1985 and the Don Dinkinger call and all of that. I just don't even want to give them the opportunity to take that away. So I didn't want to see them, but a lot of people in town really wanted to see it.
You think the Royals are going to win this series?
I picked the Royals in 6.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
All right, so win 2,
Yeah.
lose 2 out of 3, and come back and win the 6th game.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose one here.
And then win 2 out of 3 in AT&T Park. They've been great on the road, but that ballpark's a little tricky in that spot.
It is. But, you know, I think the ballpark plays well to what the Royals do well. They got fly ball pitchers, and they got outfielders that can run everything down. That's a good ballpark to play in, isn't it?
Yeah, a good part. Yeah, I mean, you have to. If you look at it logically, though, Nate, you have to assume the Giants will win 2 out of 3 in their ballpark. So if they win 2 out of 3 in their ballpark, the Royals obviously have to win a 3-game series out of 4.
Royals took 2 in a row in Anaheim. That's a tough place to play. They took 2 in a row in Baltimore. That's a tough place to play. You can't explain these Royals right now.
Oh, they're hot. It's fun to see. Nate, great job. Enjoyed very much.
Thanks, Mad Dog.
You take care. Nate Bukaty, of course, did a superb job there. So we have